Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Tornado Talk, inside look at Brevard College athletics. We're here on Monday nights at Dugan's Pub, 29 West French Broad Street in Brevard, North Carolina. We've got an exciting show tonight. We'll be talking a lot of hoops, starting with the man on my left, head men's basketball Lee Burgess, also men's basketball student athletes Levi Lamb and Mike Williams. They're already in the house tonight. Head women's basketball coach Donald Hudson, along with women's basketball student athletes Avery Lockwood and Brianna Ware. Before we get to our guests, do want to thank our sponsors, Arby's, Jets Pizza, Holiday Inn Express, Hampton Inn, Ingles, Mission Sports Medicine, Comporium, Pepsi, and the home of Tornado Talk, Dugan's Pub. And do want to wish a happy birthday to T-Love, one of our big fans here in the house at Dugan's Pub. Happy birthday, buddy. Thanks for all the support, and enjoy your special evening. Now, do want to catch you up because it's been a few weeks since we've hosted a Tornado Talk, and a lot has happened around the world of Brevard College athletics. The cycling program finished second at the 2019 USA Cycling Cyclocross National Championships. That's the second straight top three finish for the Tornadoes at a USA Cycling Collegiate National Championship. They finished third in mountain bikes in fifth straight year that Brevard's finished in the top three at the Cyclocross National Championship. So just a tremendous showing again for the Tornadoes. And the head coach of the Tornadoes cycling program, Brad Purley, won an individual national championship in the Masters age 30 to 34 category in the Cyclocross National Championships. This event was held all the way over in Tacoma, Washington, and the head coach of the Tornadoes bringing home a national championship as well. Now in football, a couple of standout defensive stars from that record-breaking team that won a bowl game and just had a sensational season, Dante Anderson and Stephen Kennedy. They both were named finalists for the Cliff Harris Award, which is given to the nation's top small college defensive player. And they both also earned all ECAC first-team honors. So big congratulations to those two. Of course, the team as a whole with all sorts of accolades, but defensively just a lights-out year, and those two are very much a part of it. So congratulations to Dante Anderson and Stephen Kennedy. Just today, a new member of the coaching staff was named, this time in the sport of softball. Volunteer assistant coach Jenna George will be making the trip from Minnesota to Brevard, North Carolina. She had just a standout career at St. Catherine University, and she will be a part of Robin Rohr's staff, the newly minted head coach. We'll have Coach Rohr on the show next week to preview some Brevard College softball. Women's basketball, they will be talking to Coach Donald Hudson a little later. They're coming off a tough loss over the weekend to Huntington. Also played a couple D1 opponents in exhibitions. This Wednesday, January 8th, 7:30 p.m. at the Boschmer Gymnasium. Come out, support the women's basketball team when they take on Agnes Scott. And that brings up our next guest and our first guest this evening, head coach Lee Burgess. Coach, thanks for joining the program.
Yeah, glad to be here, Phil.
Well, Coach, do want to talk quite a bit about yesterday's big victory, the 83-79 win over North Carolina Wesleyan. Just a great Sunday for the Tornadoes and the Tornado faithful. But before we do that, we'd like to catch folks up a bit on what happened over the break. And, in particular, a trip to Atlanta for the Holiday Inn Express Classic, December 29th and 30th, a 1-point loss that came down to the final seconds versus Barry, and then a win the very next day against the host of the tournament, Oglethorpe, 67-64. If you can kind of take folks through those two contests a bit for us and what they may have missed if they weren't able to tune in for those games.
Yeah, so we got about a week off for Christmas. So our guys got to go home, and we came back the evening of December 26th and practiced. So practiced the evening of the 26th, afternoon of the 27th, and then we practiced the morning of the 28th, and then hopped on some vans and went on down to Atlanta to try to get down there at a decent time to get settled into the hotel, and found a decent spot to go eat dinner and hang out a little bit. That was the night of the college football playoffs, so did that, and then we played Barry on the 29th at Oglethorpe, so neutral site game. Barry is a very good team, is having a very good year. We played them last year as well in a tournament at Sewanee. They beat us maybe 10 points, something like that. But Barry's a very, very good team. And our guys really laid it out there in that game. We played really hard. We played together. We played well. And that game was really nip and tuck the whole way through. And Barry had a lead most of the second half, but we hung tight with them. And Damari Hopper made a couple free throws, maybe 18 seconds left to put us up by one, and came down to getting one stop, and we couldn't quite get it. They have a very, very good post player, Caleb Haynes, who scored over 1,000 points in his career, and they got him the ball around the block, and he was able to take a couple dribbles and make a post move and put it in with 1.5 seconds left to beat us by one. And it was a gut punch. And, I told our guys after the game, when you feel like that, you feel like that after you have, really laid it on the line, and when you come up short. And, when you don't really lay it out there, it doesn't hurt as bad. And this one really, really hurt because we laid it out there and played pretty well and just came up just short. So it's a quick turnaround. We're playing the host team the next day, Oglethorpe, who is a different type of opponent, one that was going to pressure us a little bit more, play a lot of zone. Really, really quick perimeter players, not as much of a post presence as Barry, so a different type of prep. They were coming off a win the day before that. So our guys turned the page, and we didn't get off to the best start in that game, but we were able to kind of right the ship maybe 5-6 minutes into it and get ourselves in a pretty good groove, and had a double-digit lead late in the second half, and wish we could have closed the game out a little bit better. But they were able to kind of claw back in, and we had to make some plays down the stretch, and we were able to do that and come away with a close win. And it was a big win for us. I came away from that weekend feel like we had taken a step forward. To beat an Oglethorpe team on their home floor and to lose a neutral site game to a very good Barry team. It was a step forward, one that we could certainly learn from. Heading into the weekend that we just had at home. So you never really quite know what you're going to get when you come back from Christmas after about a week off, how long it's going to kind of take the rhythm to get back, and, wonder where your conditioning level, is, and those kind of things. And we ended up being in a decent place. I feel like we pushed the right buttons as far as when to bring them back, how hard to push them, and all that kind of stuff. And our guys did a good job of laying it out there. So that I felt like we took a step forward and was able to learn some things about us over that weekend trip to Atlanta, and then that led us into the weekend that I'm sure we're about to talk about.
Yeah, the 67-64 victory over Oglethorpe. The two seniors, Damari Hopper and Levi Lamb, coming up big in that one down the stretch with a couple of key buckets. And Hopper, season high 20 points, hit 5 3-pointers. Yep. Levi Lamb, 14 points, 5 rebounds. And you said it had to be a gratifying win after the tough loss, 1-point loss to Barry. Then the new year turns, the 2020 calendar turns, and then 2 home games this past weekend, starting with a matchup against Methodist on Saturday. Not the result you wanted.
Right.
Career high 27 points from Cannon Lamb, and I would imagine sort of similar to what happened in Atlanta. You got to shake that one off quickly and get ready for Sunday.
Yeah, we go into the Methodist game, and I was really interested to see, what we were going to be like in that game. Methodist is a very experienced team. They start a lot of juniors and seniors, and that team played in the conference championship game last year. They lost, but they made it to the conference championship game. It's a very good team, Methodist, in our league. And we did not have a very good first half. And, since we came back from Christmas, we've played 4 games, and we've really only had one bad half of basketball, and that was the first half against Methodist. We dug ourselves a hole. Our guys, stuck with it in the second half, fought back, and I think we were down 20. I know, and I don't know that we got it to single digits, but I think we got it to 10.
Got it to 10.
Got it to 10, and then gave up a little mini run from them to kind of spurt it back out to 16, 17, and we couldn't quite get it much closer than that. But played them pretty well in the second half. I think did some good things, but that first half cost us. Which is disappointing because, again, that's a good team in our league, and we want to be a good team in our league, and to do that, we've got to beat some teams like that, and that was an opportunity we let get away with a bad half of basketball there. But yeah, now we got to turn the page and go play North Carolina Wesleyan. It's a very different type team that we played. Methodist, a lot of very, very good perimeter players. Not an overly big team, but very, very good perimeter players. And then North Carolina Wesleyan, while they have some very good perimeter players, they have massive size that a lot of teams in our league don't have, and a different thrust of what they're trying to do offensively. So very different prep for us in 24 hours. So, we met that morning, Sunday morning, and went over some film and went through some stuff on the floor about what we wanted to do. And, I try to tell our guys, there's some matchup issues for us guarding them. We're going to have to do some things really well to kind of counter that on the defensive side of the ball, and talk about what we try to do, and our guys did a great job doing it. But then just to try to give them some confidence too, like they got to come guard us. Those big boys that we have to guard on one end, they got to come guard us on the other end. And we can get them moving around and chasing us around a little bit. I think some things will open up for us. We got to be able to take advantage of that. I knew we'd have to shoot the ball well in that game, and fortunately we did. With stats, I don't know that I've ever seen it. So I believe, if I'm right, correct me, but I think we were 13 of 27 from the arc, and we were 13 of 27 from twos.
That's correct.
We were
yep.
exactly the same number of shot attempts from threes and twos, and exactly the same number of makes as twos and threes.
48.1%.
So I don't know that I've ever seen that before in my years of coaching, but 13-27 from the arc, that's a great percentage, and kind of offsets what they're able to do against us in the paint. And we shot it well from the line, too, 18 of 20, as a team from the free throw line. So we made some big shots down the stretch and hung in there with it, because, when you're having to battle like we were having to battle on the defensive side of the ball, and then you battle for 25 seconds, and then they get a post touch and it's an easy bucket, that can be deflating. Or you play great defense and you give an offensive rebound and a putback, and that can be deflating. So to stick with it like we did, and not lose our poise with what we were trying to do, and then also be able to carry that forward to the offensive side and really try to implement that game plan and do so successfully was a great testament to our guys and their toughness. And that's what we've been talking about a little bit, is just we need to be a little bit of a tougher group, especially mentally. And I think we saw that against North Carolina Wesleyan, which was great. I remember being in the under 4 timeout, and I think we were down 1 at the time. But we've been here before, with some of these early games that we came out on the short end, and we look back on those films. It's like, listen, it's our attention to detail defensively down the stretch that costs us, or it's a careless possession offensively, or a bad shot. It's going to be offensive efficiency and defensive intensity, attention to detail, and we were able to do those things, which shows some growth. It shows some toughness, which is great. So proud of our guys with how they responded and stepped up in that game.
And the challenge was even, more intense given the fast start for North Carolina Wesleyan, a 10-0 start for North Carolina Wesleyan, but Tornadoes hung with it and then just completely flipped the script.
Yeah.
A 22-17 run to, take a big lead with about 9 minutes left in the first half. So kudos to the Tornadoes for being able to shake off that early gut punch.
That was not part of the game plan.
Right.
But fortunately our guys stuck with it and we were able to respond well. But yeah, we talk about trying to go out there and punch first, and we did not. But we took the punch and absorbed it, and sometimes you have to do that. We were able to do that and get our wits about us and go out there and perform, which was great.
And you mentioned the under 4 timeout, 3:46 left in the ball game, 74-72, North Carolina Wesleyan on top at that point, and a couple of just key plays on both sides of the court. Damari Hopper coming through with a field goal in the paint off an assist by Cannon Lamb, a block shot at one point by Cannon Lamb, a three-pointer made by Joshua Wilson at one point, and just down the stretch when the chips were on the table and it mattered most, the Tornadoes came through.
Yeah, that layup from Hop was an and one. We got fouled on that too, which was big, and Josh's three we were down 2 when he hit it, I believe, and gave us the lead with just over a minute to go, which was a big lift, for our guys. So, yeah, big plays and then big stops down the stretch, and then, Levi steps to the line and needed to make one and made one. So, yeah, great win.
And you mentioned Levi. He leads the team in the win with 25 points, a new career high for him. Hits 5 3-pointers. Damari Hopper, who has just been playing excellent, and from my vantage point, in all areas. 18 points, 7 of 7 from the free throw line, 5 of 7 from the field. Also, some rebounds and assists. And Mike Williams, who's going to be on the show, 13 points with 3 3-pointers made. Great to see that production off the bench from Mike Williams.
Yeah, it was. And Mike, he'll be the first one to tell you didn't have his best game against Methodist and responded really well against North Carolina Wesleyan. And we needed him. And I talked to him after the Methodist game and said, listen, man, when you're good, we are a much, much better team. So let's be better tomorrow. And to his credit, he got himself ready and ready to go. And having those bench points, was big. Mike has been in the starting lineup and was coming off the bench this weekend. So having those points off the bench was helpful. I think he's been a worthy starter as well. And we'll need to get production off the bench from some other people once he gets back in the starting lineup. But yeah, he was huge. And Levi and Cannon carry a lot of the scoring load and that weight on their shoulders, and that can wear on you sometimes. And Hop has done a great job of supplementing that this year. But now I think we're able to add Mike to that list as well. You don't have to carry all of it. Levi and Cannon are still going to carry a lot of it, but they don't have to carry all of it. And having Hop step up and now Mike step up too has I think, been a big part of why we've been able to kind of turn the corner and win 2 of our last 3, and play Barry really, really tough.
And you mentioned the bench points, 7 coming from Jamichael Boone as well, a bucket from Messiah Pankey, and then 5 points each from Luke Blaynott and Paris Crawford, the 2 freshmen. And the place just went berserk when both of these guys got their first career points as collegiate players. Can you talk about that dynamic and how that got the team going?
Both those guys work really hard. Both those guys are great teammates. We've got a big roster, and everybody can't play. Those guys have come to practice and worked hard, and the guys that are on the bench and not playing know how hard they've been working. The guys that are on the floor and have been playing know how hard those guys have been working. We had Hayden down with an injury. Josh picked up 2 quick fouls in the first half, had to go to the bench. We needed extra minutes from on the wing from Paris. We needed extra minutes from Luke, in the post with Hayden being out. And to those guys' credit, they stepped up and took advantage of that opportunity. And so when you've got a team that I think is as close as our group is, and they see these guys that have been working hard in practice and not necessarily getting the reps that they would like, but still having a great attitude, still working hard, still putting in the time, they get that opportunity and also take advantage of it. It's just a great story, not only for them individually, but obviously our team needed every bit of those minutes, every bit of those points, and was a big part of why we were able to win that game.
All added up to an 83-79 win for the Tornadoes, a big USA South Conference victory just yesterday, Sunday, at the Boschmer Gymnasium. And so we turn the page now. 3 straight road games, beginning with a trip to Berea, Kentucky, 7:30 p.m. this Wednesday against Berea, a team that the Tornadoes have already faced this season at the Boschmer Gymnasium, a win for Brevard, but looking for the season sweep over Berea this Wednesday.
Yeah, that would be great. We were off today after being, Saturday, Sunday back-to-back. We were off today. So we'll start putting the game plan in tomorrow with the guys. We've been breaking down that film from that game, obviously from the Berea game that we played earlier, and it's a good team, talented team. We got off to a fantastic start against them at our place, and we were able to hang on, to win that game. But I think we were up 27-4 to start that game, and they came all the way back and got within 1 or something like that. So we played well for large stretches of that game, but they played well for large stretches of that game as well. So we're going to have to, go to work and not take anything for granted for sure, and try to anticipate some adjustments they might make some adjustments of our own, and go up there and put our best foot forward. But I'm hopeful that we've turned a corner in terms of our approach and ability to close out some games, and ability to play a certain way. So Wednesday's another opportunity for us to go show that.
Great. Well, Coach, congratulations. The big 83-79 win over North Carolina Wesleyan over the weekend. Also the win against Oglethorpe in Atlanta over the break as well. And good luck at Berea. We'll see you next week here at Tornado Talk. And fans, Tuesday, January 21st, if you want to mark your calendar, the next chance to see the Tornadoes after that 3-game road trip versus Piedmont, 7:30 p.m. at the Bosch. Coach, thanks again for joining the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, that was head coach Lee Burgess recapping the 83-79 win over North Carolina Wesleyan yesterday at the Bosch, as the Tornadoes improved to 2-3 in the USA South Conference. And up next for the Tornadoes, trips to Berea, Covenant, and Pfeiffer. And as mentioned, the next home game, Tuesday, January 21st versus Piedmont. And excited to talk to these two coming off this impressive victory yesterday that these two were very much a big part of. Joined now by Mike Williams and Levi Lamb.
How you doing?
Gentlemen, thanks for joining the program.
Thanks for having us.
Well, Mike, is this your debut on Tornado Talk?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Well, it's great to have you here. And, Levi, a veteran of the show, I'm sure he was giving you some tips beforehand. But let's start with this. Yesterday, an 83-79 win. And, Mike, we'll start with you. What did you feel like the key was to you guys putting together that team win?
I think it was just making sure we finished like the right way, like keeping the momentum high. Because it's a game of run. So they went on a run. Of course, we also went on a run. But I feel like the most important thing we did was continue to play, even through like picking up many fouls we did or the turnovers we did late in the game. We kept playing.
And Levi, from your perspective, as far as the team victory, it seemed to me you guys were getting it done on both ends of the court. It was a tough matchup for you guys, that the way this team was so tall.
Yes.
But you guys got it done, 83-79. Thoughts?
Yeah. We came off a tough loss the day before against Methodist, and we wanted to make sure that we didn't start off bad like we did against Methodist, and we still did, but we didn't fight as hard as we did. So we wanted to make sure that we fought through the whole entire game. Like Mike said, no matter what happened, the early fouls with Lambo and the hop, that no matter what happened, we just had to keep fighting, and we're gonna get the win. So I think it showed our toughness through the game.
Yeah, and fell behind early and really had to kind of dig in and come back with a run of your own. What were you guys saying amongst yourselves? When you guys were down 10-0 and realized you had to turn this thing around quickly.
Oh, just stay together. Keep doing the system, and it's going to work. But just stay together and keep playing hard. And we knew that we were going to get back in the game if we just kept doing that.
I tend to when we depending on no matter what, how much time you got left in the game, I go to either Levi or somebody that's playing a big role in the game and let them know depending on how much time on the clock, I say maybe we got a whole another half level. We got 10 minutes left in the game to keep playing and make sure we know that we running out of time, but we got time to get back to where we need to be.
All right, now I want to talk about the three ball. Mike, 3 for 4 in the contest from beyond the arc. Levi drains 5 3-pointers, and other players got into that action as well. Damari Hopper draining one, Joshua Wilson, Jermichael Boone, and the 2 freshmen as well, Luke and Paris. But as far as you guys and from your perspective, can you kind of take the viewers what it's like as a shooter when you're feeling it and, those threes are falling?
Well, me, I tend to I feel like you give a good shot for a great shot. So in order for me to get a good shot, the shot that I shot was pretty wide on, and I feel like even the one hop guy, when he threw it to me, he originally wanted me to shoot it, but I moved and gave it right back to him, and he got a wide on shot. So I feel like if you stay patient and move the ball, everybody will get a good shot. And then it's wide open shot is way easier than shooting a contested shot.
So a lot of it's about that extra pass, right?
Yeah, the extra pass and trusting your teammates and stuff like that. And then it just goes into it's we got to trust ourselves that we're going to make it. So we got to have confidence in ourselves and each other.
And practice. We practice a lot.
Now, do want to talk about, we mentioned them, Luke Blaynot and Paris Crawford. Both hitting a three-pointer, both making, their, scoring debuts, in a collegiate uniform. And I saw y'all's bench just erupt. And, the student section isn't here this time of year. They're still on winter break. And considering the students weren't in the Boschmer Gymnasium, the place got really loud after those two, connected. Can you guys, again, kind of give us the inside scoop from your perspective? What was, you guys were maybe talking about or what was going on when those guys were, making history for themselves?
Yeah, when Luke shot, we be in practice and we do certain drills that require everybody to shoot. And at first he wouldn't shoot it, he'd never shoot it. But like for the last couple times we did it, he was actually shooting. He was actually making. Some of them he'll make, some of them he'll miss. But when he got in the game, we was all surprised that he actually shot it because it's his first time playing, so he ain't really. We was expecting him to be nervous, but he actually shot it and made it. We was all happy for him.
Yeah, and when Paris hit his three in the corner, everybody was happy. I know I was on the court and I stopped for a second. I was happy for him that he got his first bucket there. But yeah, we were happy for both of them. They both worked hard in practice, and it was glad to see them score and help the team.
All right, the last thing I want to talk about from the NC Wesleyan game, the 83-79 win, was the free throw line. Shot very well as a team, 18 for 20. It doesn't, you don't see that 90% or higher number too often across all levels of college basketball, and you guys really got it done at the line, a key part of this victory, no doubt. Same kind of question when we talked about the three-pointer, but I'm sure this is even more kind of a personal thing as far as your routine or what have you at the line. But, in your minds, what does it take to be an effective free throw shooter?
I feel like it's probably just repetition, getting a lot of work at it. And I can also give some of the credit to coach because if we in practice you shoot free throws and miss, you don't want to run, so you don't want to be the reason the team running, so you want to make the free throw. And I feel like that helped us a lot.
Yeah, a lot of practice and there's a lot of staying focused. They're free, so we gotta make sure we practice those so we can make them in the game. I still missed two. Those 2 misses came from me, but I still got to work at them. But as a team, we've been getting better at free throws.
Now, prior to the weekend's games at the Boschmer Gymnasium, you all took a trip to Atlanta, which is Levi's hometown, by the way. First, let's start there, Levi. How did it feel to, hopefully play in front of, some of your old friends and family and that kind of thing in Atlanta?
Oh, it felt good. I haven't played in Atlanta since my high school, so we haven't had a game since my freshman year, sophomore year, or last year. So it felt good to play there in a while and to see some of my friends that did come out of my family. It was a good atmosphere out there.
And if you can think back for both of you guys, 67-64 win over Oglethorpe, after a tough 1-point loss to Barry, but to beat the host team, Oglethorpe, had to feel good as far as, giving you some momentum when you came back home here.
Yes, sir, it did. Yeah, Oglethorpe, I feel like we had a good lead on them, but we kind of blew it and we won late. But, yeah, it was still a good momentum to have to get that win and come back. And come back to the crib and get another win. So.
I feel like it showed us our actual potential because they were at home and we had just came off of L and I believe they helped us realize what we really can do if we actually try. Everybody go out and give 100%.
Now, Levi from Atlanta, Georgia. Mike, you're from Casey, South Carolina, just outside of Columbia.
Yes, sir.
And you have now found your way here to Brevard College. We're thrilled that you're a Tornado. But can you tell folks a little bit about, perhaps, we've heard from Levi tell his story before on Tornado Talk. But as far as yourself, when did you start playing basketball? When did it start getting serious? And then ultimately, now as a college basketball player?
I started playing basketball when I was younger, maybe 7. And I always played. I played 3 sports. My mom always was big on sports, so she kept me in the sports. And once I got ready to graduate, I had to decide which sport I actually want to do. And in my 11th grade year, I stopped playing baseball, so it was just basketball and football. And I just being I had the love for basketball. And then playing the collegiate level, I was at Newberry before I came. I felt that helped me a lot. Playing against on a different stage and I guess a level up and then coming down here this really, it's about this. It's just about the same. I feel like it's getting a little easier for me now, but before it was kind of tough. With the height that I'm at and playing against such taller people, then I feel like I got a hang of it now.
Yeah, so Mike's one of several strong newcomers you guys got this year, Levi.
Yes, sir.
Also Jamichael Boone comes to mind. He has a whole kind of other dimension to his game, and certainly helping you guys on the as far as the team basketball goes.
Yeah, Jamaica. He's someone that I work out with a lot, like outside of practice, and he has his ups and downs, but he's a solid piece to our little squad.
Very good. Well, a trip this week to Berea. If you guys, remember back, you beat Berea earlier this season at the Bosch, but they're going to be gunning for y'all, I'd imagine. Trying to even up that season series, but a chance for you guys to get the season sweep against this team. And I like I've been trying to behind the scenes push the button to create a rivalry with Berea because the initials for both teams are BC. So it's like, hey, who's the real BC? And to me, it's whoever wins the most games. Should be able to call themselves that, and the other team can't call them, themselves that for the year. Let's do something like that. So I'm counting on you guys to help me with this mission of mine. But anyway, what's Coach telling you about the keys to victory against Berea?
Well, regardless of like what we face, of course, them being at home is going to be like an advantage for them. So no matter like what we face, no matter like how big the run is that they're going to continue to play as a team, and he kept exaggerating like how good we can be when we're one instead of like playing for ourselves.
Yeah, go along with what he said. Yeah, we gotta he preaches playing together a lot and staying together, and then no matter what happens, we always we gotta have each other back and stuff like that. Berea, we had a big lead on them at the beginning of the game, but they came back, and that's a game they thought they could have won. So I know for sure that they're going to come out here and try swinging first, and we got to make sure that we're not caught sleeping. But definitely a beautiful team.
Very good. Well, good luck this week on that business trip to Berea. I know you guys are going to treat it as such. And congrats again. That was a very exciting win for NATO Nation yesterday to witness 83-79 over North Carolina Wesleyan. And two of the stars of that game, Levi Lamb, who poured in a career-high 25 points, and Mike Williams with 13 points, able to join us tonight on Tornado Talk. Gentlemen, thanks for joining the show. Great job.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks. All right, Levi Lamb and Mike Williams, two of the stars of that win over North Carolina Wesleyan yesterday at the Bosch. And we'll switch gears here to talk a little women's hoops. It's good to see the women's basketball team back here in Brevard, North Carolina after a road trip this weekend. And settling in here to the coach's corner, head coach Donald Hudson. Coach, thanks for joining the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Phil.
Well, Coach, officially want to wish you a Happy New Year as we turn the calendar year to 2020, and just want to catch folks up a little bit on what they may have missed, over the Christmas break.
Yes, sir.
A couple of trips to Division I opponents in exhibitions, which I know are really worthwhile, and then this past weekend, a trip to Montgomery, Alabama, a tough loss in USA South Conference play to Huntington. But if we can start with those two trips at Presbyterian and at Walford, these games on a big stage. Division I facilities. They were broadcast on ESPN Plus, so sort of a big-time feel to them. And I'd imagine from your perspective as head coach, a lot of, learning and growth opportunities for the team.
Absolutely. Like those games, you want to go in, you want to play well. But you really want to work on yourself. You're playing against opponents that are Division I players, and they're Division I players for a reason. They're pretty good players. So you're kind of outmatched a little bit, but you want to see your team do some really good things. You want to see them do the things that you practice and play the way and do the things that we talk about. And in both games, we did that. The score may not reflect it, but in both games, you could see some promise. Did we play lights out? Absolutely not. We definitely made our mistakes at times. But for the most part, in both of those games, we saw things that we can build upon. We can build them. And that's something that we're trying to stress to the team right now. There's a lot of basketball left. We didn't get a win in either one of those games or anything, but there's still light at the end of the tunnel. We got to keep chugging along, keep pushing. But those Division I games, they were fun. We got to get up and down a little bit, play on a big stage, and be on ESPN, like you said. That's big. That's nice. It was fun. We also saw some good things and some things that we need to work on.
Yeah, from the student-athlete experience, is that something you like to, give the opportunity to your student athletes, that chance to, play on that stage, even though, hey, there hasn't been too many underdogs at that level who pull off the, the upset. There was a famous one way back, Chaminade beating, Virginia back in the 80s and Ralph Sampson. But, so, the odds are stacked against you, and it's an exhibition, but it's a great experience for the student athletes.
It is. It's a really good experience for the girls, and it's a game where you get to just go play just free. Now, you still want to play the right way, but you just don't have as much pressure on you. You don't have as much pressure on you to go out there and beat one of those teams because you're playing, like you said, there's odds are stacked against you. You just want to go play well and do some things that you can build upon. We want to continue to do that going forward. I know looking back when I played, we were able to go over to play UT, like Tennessee, and it was a great experience. Seeing that arena and all Pat Summit stuff and all that stuff. It's a really good experience, and that's something that we want to continue to do going forward.
Then a trip this past weekend to Montgomery, Alabama, USA South Conference play, a tough loss to the Huntington Hawks. Deja Riddick with a career-high 23 points, her third 20-plus performance this season. Not the result you're looking for, Coach, but can you explain both the good things you did see, but also the things that need to be worked on moving forward?
Okay, the biggest thing about this weekend that we want to take away was just the turnovers, Phil. We turned the ball over 22 times. And against a team that plays that fast and likes to get up and down, you can't do that. You have to protect the basketball. You can't put the ball in harm's way, and we did that. And we came in this morning. We didn't touch the floor. We watched that entire game. Watch where we kind of went wrong and stuff that we can help ourselves with going forward when we see pressure. So that was the biggest thing that stood out from a negative standpoint, just not taking care of the ball. If you go back and you look at the stats and you look at our percentages were fine. Our percentages were fine. When we did handle the ball and handle the pressure, we got decent shots in the half-court offense. But the times we didn't, we gave it to them and led right into a transition layup. So taking the negative from that, we want to make sure that we value the basketball. And some positive things that we saw is the fact that we continue to fight. We got down early, and early in the second, midway through the second quarter. That's when they kind of went on their run and took a big lead. And we talked about some things at the break at halftime, and we came out and we didn't quit. Like I said, the score doesn't reflect it, but there were some positives in that. We watched the film today, and we saw that some of the things that we were doing to ourselves, like not so much things that they were doing to us, but things that we were hurting ourselves with, like the self-inflicted wounds. And those are things that we can control, And going forward, we want to make sure that the things that we control, we want to be really good at those, like the little small things, like boxing out and talking on defense, jumping off to the ball, and just holding each other accountable, knowing where to be and when to be there. That was one of the good things that we took away is we didn't quit in that game.
Now, it's been a long time since the team's had an opportunity to play a home game.
It feels like it's been a while.
It has been. It's been a good month or so. And there is that opportunity this Wednesday, a chance to bounce back after, the setback this weekend to Huntington. A game versus Agnes Scott this Wednesday, January 8th, 7:30 p.m. at the Bosch. Hope the fans can come on out for that one and cheer on this squad. But a big opportunity for the team to get right back on the win column.
It is. And we talk about being 1-0. Just being 1-0. We dropped the game this past weekend, didn't play well. It's done. We can't do anything about it. We can't go back and get that one. But what we can do is go into Wednesday's game and be better. Be better at all the things that we saw on film today. Be better at all the things that we talked about that we were not good at this past weekend. And it's an Agnes Scott team that's well coached. Coach Albie Biggs does a good job down there with that team. They're a team that's hungry as well. It's not going to be a game we come in there and kind of roll over them. They're looking for a win as well. They've dropped some close ones. They're young. He's still trying to build something there, but they play hard. They play extremely hard, and we're going to have to match that energy, come out and put this Saturday behind us, and come out and play Brevard College women's basketball.
And can you tell folks a little bit, practically speaking, what this week looks like? Because school still isn't in session. Monday, a week from today, classes start back in session for Brevard College. The only students you pretty much see on campus at the moment are men's and women's basketball players. However, there's a lot of hours to fill in the day. How have you guys been handling, sort of logistically the week? No school, however, games to be played and prepare for.
Yeah, it kind of makes every day feel the same. Like when school's in, okay, today's Monday, okay, today's Tuesday. But when this break happens, it's like every day it's the same thing. But we've done a really good job of, we watched film today, got in the weight room. Tomorrow we'll get on the floor and walk through some of Agnes Scott's stuff and work on some of the things that we need to work at. But maintaining that, making sure we're getting in the gym and doing the things we need to do with so much time on our hands. You know, that is a big deal. Like you said, just see the men's and women's basketball team here. You know, I remember those days back when I played. It was fun times. You know, fun times you really, really get to connect with your team. There's nobody else on campus. You know, you're just with each other. You're just with each other, and you build some nice bonds and make some memories and everything. But I think we've done a good job of balancing that. Like every practice that we've had, the girls have shown up and they're ready to go.
In this season, you have a blend of returners and also newcomers this year, so I would imagine that kind of bonding time is even more valuable.
Yeah, that's critical with any team. You know, any team. You really want to make sure your team is out there for each other, and that's something that we try to stress every game. Like, play for each other. Like, don't do it for us. Don't do it for the coaching staff. We've had our fun. You know, we played our college basketball. We've done that. This is about you all. This is about this group. You know, this group will never be together again. Like, this team this year, this group will never be together again, losing 2 of our seniors. So we try to stress to them the importance of being in tune with each other. You know, it's flying by. Like, feel it's January.
Yep.
I feel like the season just started. You know, so just taking care of the moment and living in the moment and just not letting anything get by you and just cherishing those moments that we have together. That's
Very
something
nice.
that we really try to stress to the group.
Makes a lot of sense. Now, in the next few moments, we're going to hear from a couple of your players, Bree Ware and also Avery Lockwood. From your perspective, Coach, I know these two, you know, they're only sophomores. However, they both, to me, have sort of a veteran presence already
Absolutely.
in a lot of ways. Can you tell folks even further a little more about these two and perhaps something
I
that
can.
you know, people who just read the game stories and read the statistics might not realize?
Yeah, I can. Like you said, it seems like they've been here longer than they've had. Like, it's only their second year. They're both sophomores, and it seems that way because they play a lot of minutes. Like, those two have played a lot of meaningful minutes on this team. And they've been around, and they really understand and look and know what I'm looking for every day on a day-to-day basis. But the things that the crowd doesn't get to see is just how good people they are. Like, they're really, really genuinely good people deep down inside. Like, both of them come by my office every day. If it's not just to have a conversation, it's just to speak. Hey, Coach, how you doing? And that means a lot. You know, that means a lot. There's some players that will never go into the coach's office in the country, and they just don't have that kind of relationship with them. But having these two has been great. They're a coach's dream. I don't have to worry about anything about them. They take care of their business in the classroom. They're about the right things on the court, and they represent us in the right way. So if the crowd can take anything from me about these two, it's just the quality people. They're high-character people. You could tell they were raised the right way, and very respectful, and very mannerable and everything. And they've been a joy to have around, and I definitely look forward to moving forward with them for these next 2 years.
Well, I've had the chance to work with both of them kind of, you know, away from the basketball court in our operation, and both of them have done just a fine job, you know, helping us out behind the scenes. So want to thank you for that and making them available for that work. Well, Coach, you know, the good news is also we get to get in the rhythm of weekly tornado talks here at Dugan's Pub and having you on the show each week and talking women's basketball on a weekly basis.
Yes,
we look forward to that and seeing you here next week. And thanks again. And, folks, come on out Wednesday, January 8th, 7:30 p.m., Boschmer Gymnasium. Having a home crowd there is important for y'all, right?
It definitely makes a difference, and we don't take that lightly. We don't take it lightly. We really appreciate everybody that comes out and support every game. We really appreciate that.
Very good. Well, we'll see you this Wednesday at the Bosch, Coach. Thanks for joining
Yes,
the
sir.
program,
Thanks
and
for having
now
me.
looking forward to talking to the student athletes. All right, that was head coach Donald Hudson from the helm of the women's basketball program. This Wednesday, January 8th, 7:30 p.m. at the Boschmer Gymnasium. Come on out and see the women's basketball team take on Agnes Scott, looking to get back in that win column, the Tornadoes. And excited to talk to these two. Remember talking to them both as freshmen, and now I can already tell the veteran presence shining through. Brianna Ware and Avery Lockwood. Ladies, thanks for joining the program.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Well, can we talk about that a little bit first? How different it feels to be a sophomore versus a freshman, you know, and not just on the basketball court, but just kind of, you know, hey, let's face it, like, you're a freshman, you're figuring out just the absolute basics. You're learning your way around campus. You're, you know, meeting people for the first time. It's a little overwhelming.
Yes.
But now that you're a sophomore, things I would imagine are a lot different. So can both of you kind of expound on that a bit?
Well, classes are definitely a lot different, and you feel like you know what you're doing a lot more, and you have a good support system with your friends that you made your freshman year, and it's a lot more easier to go into the year in the first semester with your friends and your team that you already know, and you know what you're doing now instead of when you were a freshman.
I kind of agree with her. So, like what she just said.
And now that you're a sophomore and you've got freshman teammates, and not just your teammates, but just freshmen who are wandering around campus, do you try to keep an eye out for them and try to point them in the right direction?
We do try to point them in the right direction, make sure they're doing everything right in the classroom, on and off the court too. So.
Yeah, just making sure that they know where they need to be and what time, and just what we had to go through in the freshman year and all of the things that we and the coach expect from them, and just also like how to have fun with us too. So.
Now let's talk a little basketball, and would like to tell viewers a little more about each of your games, and Bree, we'll start with you, and as I watch you and I, call some of your games and so forth, I see you as sort of like the all-around player, plays, really tough defense, solid, in like every department, kind of getting it done, gritty, the dirty work a lot of times, that kind of thing. Now that I've explained it from my perspective, how do you describe your game to others?
I think I can play really good, solid defense when I need to, step up. And I can step up to, whatever coach wants me to do. To be, solid in everything. Yeah.
She's a player that makes post players frustrated because she can slip through the defense and get the rebound and go back up. It's really difficult to play her in practice. It's very hard.
Yeah, and before we let Avery describe her game, why don't you describe Avery's game to the audience?
I feel like Avery's a really good post player down low. If you get her the ball, when she's on the block, and she can just do her post move, I think she's really good, dominant down there, gets rebounds, helps us out on defense.
And Avery, how would you describe yourself?
I think she described me very well. I'm very good with my back to the basket, and I also have a pretty good jump shot. Last year, a lot of people noticed that I could rebound the ball fairly well, and I think that's just what I'm the best at, is rebounding the ball, getting from the post to the outside, getting all those passes to my guards, and play pretty good defense, I guess.
Now, not many teams, in college basketball have a twin tower type situation that the Tornadoes implement every once in a while with Avery and Krista Davis. I'd like to hear from both of you guys, what that sort of means when both of them are on the court, but also just to have, kind of that solid, size that, the opponent always has to try to handle.
For me, being part of the Twin Towers, I feel our rebounding percentage goes up when we're both in there. Our defense becomes a lot more solid too. Krista is definitely a better defender than I am. And when we can work the high-low passes on offense, it opens up a lot of opportunities for me and her and for our guards. And so when we can get that in there, I believe it works very well.
Now, as we're talking about your roster, do want to hear from each of you about two more players. One is Deja Riddick, who went off for 23 points on Saturday, has scored 20-plus this season 3 times. When she gets hot, she's pouring them in.
Yeah.
First, can you guys tell us even more about Deja?
I feel like she's another aspect to the offensive end that we have, because she really looks to score, and she's really aggressive down low. She gets the ball. She can play on the wing, down low, from anywhere basically on the court on offense. She's a really good defensive player. She plays hard, both ends. So
she's another one of those players that I don't like to play in practice. She works so hard, and she gets through the defense, and she just is like a bulldozer. She can, wherever she wants to be, she'll be there. And her rebounding has gone up a lot this year. She gets in there and she works hard. I love it when she plays her 20-point games. It helps us a lot. It helps our offense and our morale and the team just go up when she plays hard.
Yeah, when she's producing offensively like that, and you add a Destiny Williams to the equation as well, like you said, it's a tough matchup for the opponents to handle all that. Now, coming up next, finally get to play a home game. After it seems like forever you all have been on the road, but Agnes Scott's coming into town on Wednesday. What have the coaches told you about, what you all need to do specifically on Wednesday to get that W?
I think just play with a high motor, just play hard, play fast, keep our pace, and do the little things right. Make sure that we're helping each other on defense, and on offense looking for me and Chris in the post, and also just swinging the ball around and keep moving. I think is a very good chance for us to win this game if we just play ourselves, like play right, and have the mentality of just going in there and playing hard and playing fast.
And how critical and how good does it feel to finally get to play that home game?
It feels pretty good because we've been away for like the last 3 games, I believe. So us being back home and having some home fans, and it'll be good because we can play off their energy that they're producing to us.
Yes.
Yeah, and in that long road trip, there was 2 trips to Division I teams, Presbyterian and Walford. Both these games on ESPN Plus. I was able to, enjoy them from my living room and turn up the volume loud and see the production. It was great to see you all in action, kind of on that big stage. Can you guys talk about that? What it felt like from your perspective to play on that D1 court and have kind of the big spotlight on you?
Like at the Presbyterian game, we all came out strong. We were looking to win, and at halftime we were like only down by 10, I believe. And then like after that, we were still playing hard. No matter like what the score was, we were really trying to beat them. Everybody was doing good on defense and offense.
It was definitely fun to play against their post players because they're D1, so they're going to be a little bit better than you. But it was fun. It was also very entertaining to see my teammates on the big screen at Walford. Seeing Destiny, I went back and watched the game a little bit and heard them talking about her. That was very entertaining. It was just fun.
Yeah, and talking about your coach as well.
Yeah, we're talking about coach.
Yeah, the cool thing is, the kind of behind the curtain a little bit, how those broadcasts work. They do research and they'll talk to, the coaches and sports information directors and things like that before the game to get the material, and then the viewers get to, listen to it. So sometimes you learn something for the first time, watching those broadcasts. Now, before I let you go, kind of would want to take this full circle. You all have been here about a year and a half now, midway through your sophomore year, spring semester starting up soon. Bree, you're from Greensboro, North Carolina. Avery, you're from Foxworth, Mississippi. My question is, now that you're here and you're settled in and you're a Tornado, when you're talking to perhaps a recruit or a high school student athlete back home and they're asking you about Brevard College, what do you tell them as far as your experience goes and why that, playing women's basketball here at Brevard College might be a great fit for them as well?
If they're like looking for a family aspect, they should really come to Brevard because the coaches are always there for you if you need to go talk to somebody. Your teammates always have your back no matter what. And like if you want a small school like for academics and stuff, you can just come to Brevard because you really get a one-on-one with your teachers. So.
Yeah, that's the best thing about Brevard is the one-on-one aspect with the teachers and with our coaches, how they're always there for us. And our team really sticks together. I mean, when we're alone during break, we have each other. We hang out, we play cards or go eat meals together. It's really fun.
Very good. Well, we're thrilled that you all are Tornadoes and, look forward to seeing you guys in action starting this Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. at the Boschmer Gymnasium. Hopefully we can get a big crowd there. There probably won't be a student section, which we experienced this weekend at the men's basketball game. But the great news is you all are very popular here in the Brevard community. And, there'll still be some noise in the Boschmer Gymnasium to get you all going. So Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Last thing before I let you go, anybody you want to give a shout-out to, perhaps back home or someone who's helped you along the way?
No.
I'll shout out to my family. They've been supporting me for as long as I've played basketball, and they watched me at the D1 games. And they came to Huntington Saturday, I think, and I just appreciate them a lot.
I say my family, too. They've sacrificed a lot for me.
Yeah.
And, they traveled to the Huntington game also. And they didn't have to do that, so
yeah.
Thank y'all.
Very good. And I do want to thank you both. I mentioned it to your coach as well. Thank you for all your help behind the scenes and kind of our operation. Sort of the cool thing about a small college is you get to experience, all the different sports and see how the athletic departments run as well. So thanks again for that. Good luck this Wednesday against Agnes Scott, and great job on the program tonight. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
All right, that was Avery Lockwood and Bree Ware, two of those women's basketball student athletes that you'll have the chance to see in person this Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. at the Boschmer Gymnasium, when the Tornadoes take on Agnes Scott. On Wednesday as well, the men's basketball team will be at Berea in Berea, Kentucky, and then the men's basketball team continues a 3-game road trip. A trip to Covenant on Tuesday, January the 14th in Lookout Mountain, Georgia. A trip to Pfeiffer on Saturday, January 18th. And then mark your calendar. The men's basketball team will return home on Tuesday, January 21st versus Piedmont, 7:30 p.m. at the Boshemer Gymnasium. Want to thank all of our guests, men's basketball coach Lee Burgess, men's basketball student athletes Levi Lamb and Mike Williams. Those two were key part of an 83-79 win by the Tornadoes over North Carolina Wesleyan on Sunday. Head women's basketball coach Donald Hudson, along with women's basketball student athletes Avery Lockwood and Brianna Ware, talking some women's basketball, previewing that Agnes Scott matchup this Wednesday at the Bosch. Want to thank our sponsors, Arby's, Jets Pizza, Holiday Inn Express, Hampton Inn, Ingalls, Mission Sports Medicine, Comporium, Pepsi, and the home of Tornado Talk, Dugan's Pub. And we mentioned the upcoming home games this Wednesday, January 8th, Agnes Scott, 7:30 p.m. at the Bosch. Hope to see you there. Make sure you follow all the latest news and updates surrounding Brevard College Athletics on Twitter and Instagram at BC Tornadoes. Subscribe to Brevard College Tornadoes on YouTube. Follow Brevard College Tornadoes on SoundCloud and like Brevard College Athletics on Facebook. Also, be sure to follow Brevard College, all one word, on Flickr for the latest photos from all Brevard College events. Want to thank those behind the scenes, including Joseph Marvin, and for making this production possible. And we will see you next Monday night here at Dugan's Pub for the next edition of Tornado Talk. Thanks for joining tonight for the program. Go Tornadoes.